Hello, I'm Dr. Mark Leondires, Medical Director of Reproductive Medicine Associates of Connecticut and founder of Gay Parents to Be. So I just want to share with everybody a little bit of my personal journey. So, I'm a board certified reproductive endocrinologist. I'm also gay and I have a husband, and I was also in the military and really wanted to have a family. And looking around of what was out there for resources and for where I was in my life, I realized there wasn't a lot and I wasn't ready. So we took a little bit of time. Somewhere around 2005, 6, and 7, I was really thinking of moving forward with family building, and the processes, the policies, gay marriage wasn't legal, we're not out there, and I was actually thinking of moving forward as a single dad to be. Then back in fall of 2007, myself and my partner are gonna have a baby. I know at that point in time pretty much more than 99.9% of people on how this process worked, but I didn't know the rest of the people that were necessary to help me build my family, including a reproductive attorney, a surrogacy agency, a talented, experienced mental health professional, and then obviously I didn't know the special women that helped us build our family, our egg donor and our surrogate. So from the decision time of fall of 2007 to actually having embryos was 2 years, right? So back in 2007, 2008, 2009, there weren't the same resources available that you all have. There wasn't Gay Parents to Be as an educational platform. There weren't these other beautiful websites out there that talk about men having babies and gays with kids. There was a dearth of information. There were practices that were doing this, and I had to kind of find them myself. Thankfully, I was on the inside lane. What I've tried to do over the past 14 years is make the inside lane that I had knowledgeable to all of you out there. And what you all may realize at this point is that there's a lot of resources, but it's hard to know what's personalized to you. So I think it's important to understand for the LGBTQ plus community, we don't have infertility in the traditional sense, meaning a year of unprotected intercourse with an opposite sex partner without a successful pregnancy or birth. We have what some people call social infertility, which basically it means that we are attracted to somebody of our same sex, and therefore we are not going to conceive a pregnancy without outside assistance. That outside assistance takes many forms. It's in the form of needing an egg donor or a sperm donor. It's in the form of needing a reproductive attorney to guide you through assigning parentage and protecting your parental rights. It's in the form of an experienced mental health professional to guide you through choosing an egg source or a sperm source and talking to your children. And it's in the form of a talented group of reproductive medicine professionals, including a doctor like myself, but nurses and embryologists, to combine these sperm and egg in order to make an embryo and place that embryo, that precious little unit that's going to become your child to be, into a properly prepared womb or uterus, and hopefully become a successful pregnancy and your family. So I'm going to be talking about moms to be and dads to be today. And what I mean by that is you're a cisgender female. What does that mean? That means you were born with ovaries and a uterus. Then your pathway to pregnancy involves using a sperm source. As far as dads to be, that would mean you're a cisgender male. So if you're a cisgender male or cisgender male couple, that means you were born with testicles and male anatomy, and for you to have your family, you're going to need the help of an egg donor and a gestational carrier or surrogate. So I think it's important to understand the differences between a traditional family building pathway for a cisgender heterosexual couple versus a cisgender same-sex male couple. Typically we have presenting in an infertility practice a mom and a dad to be, and we have this couple who has access to sperm in the dad to be, they have access to eggs, and we are going through a family building pathway that's going to combine their gametes. They might need help from a reproductive endocrinologist to get pregnant, but they don't need outside help from social workers and a reproductive attorney. For families to be, and specifically dads to be, the pathway is significantly different. You really need a team. Obviously, your desire to be a father is first, but then you need an egg donor that's properly screened from a mental health point of view, a medical point of view, that you, and if you have a partner, and your partner, both think is a good selection for you. The first step for our community to move forward with family building is really to talk to an experienced reproductive health professional, a reproductive endocrinologist that has experience. So not every reproductive endocrinologist, not every OBGYN is actually schooled in family building options for our community. So make sure you do a little bit of homework. Expressing a desire to be a parent is the first step. Checking your own biology is the next step. So if you're a woman, you want to check your fertility age. You want to check your anatomy, the health of your uterus. You want to check to make sure your fallopian tubes are open. If you're a man, you need to check that your sperm count is normal. And you want to maximize your opportunity for success by limiting exposure to too much alcohol, smoking, other lifestyle choices that might affect sperm. Once you've got that first step down, you're going to meet with an experienced or reproductive medicine professional. They should take you through building the rest of your team. The mental health component, the attorneys, and if you do need a surrogate, the surrogacy agency. For cisgender female couples, it's a little bit different, right? So if you're a woman that was born with a uterus and you have a partner that's also cisgender female, or perhaps you are a single mom to be, obviously you have eggs and you have a uterus, but you're going to need a sperm source. Sperm donors are typically young men who are screened as sperm donors, not as extensively screened as egg donor. So for moms to be, your options for family building would include using your own biology and doing insemination, or perhaps pursuing in vitro fertilization where the eggs get taken out of the body and grown in the laboratory. Those embryos could be transferred into either your uterus or perhaps even your partner's uterus. There is actually a way that cisgender female couples can do this. What that would mean is one partner would go through the medications involved in ovarian hyperstimulation to retrieve many eggs, and the other partner would go through medication to prepare the uterus to receive the embryo. So mom A gives the eggs, mom B carries the pregnancy. We call that shared in vitro fertilization. Some people call it reciprocal in vitro fertilization. And in this case, the woman giving birth is the birth mother, and the woman that has given her eggs is genetically linked to that child. And it really is quite a beautiful story, and it's something that while it's complicated, absolutely can work. One of the challenges for cisgender female couples is who's going to be pregnant? Are we both going to be pregnant? Do we want to do a shared IVF cycle? And then who's going to be the sperm source? Potentially you could even use a brother to access a genetic family tree. That's another layer of complexity. So the amount of decisions for same-sex female couples are many because there are a lot of options, and you need an experienced team to guide you through that. Take the time, if you're a mom to be, however your family is configured, and get the right resources. And that usually means you're going to spend about 6 months kind of building your team, but it's going to be worth it. Because once you have a baby, and I can speak to this personally, your life is different. Your focus is different. And you don't want to be finding an attorney at that point in time or wondering whether you made the right choices. So by doing your due diligence up front, it's going to give you payback to just relax and enjoy being a parent. So for two men to have a baby, you need a donor and a gestational carrier. You need mental health professionals, and you need a lawyer, usually 2 lawyers, sometimes even 3 lawyers, to do a contract with the donor, a contract with the surrogate, and parentage documents in the state that your child's going to be born in. So it's actually this kind of big ball of string, and you have to build your team. And for most dads to be, the process of just getting ready to take this first step is usually somewhere around 6 months to 2 years. And then the process of, once you get into it, of having your child is about another 18 months. So for an LGBTQ plus person to build a family, it involves the desire to be a parent, but then you need to build your team. You need help. Obviously, you need access to another set of gametes. So gametes are either sperm or egg. So as a gay man, we needed an egg donor, but you also need a mental health professional to screen the egg donor. You also need an attorney if you want to do a known egg donor agreement. You need an IVF laboratory and a whole suite of in vitro fertilization nurses and embryologists to make your embryos. You're going to need a reproductive endocrinologist like myself to complete the medical aspects of embryo creation. The other thing for mental health professionals, you really want a mental health professional that has spent time through the American Society for Reproductive Medicine mental health professionals groups getting educated on this unique aspect of educating you on building your family and educating your family and educating your child. You also need advice on how you're going to talk to your child, what's out there for the literature, how these children do. And you're going to need advice from a reproductive attorney to make sure both moms' legal parentage is assured. And interestingly enough, even state to state, those laws change. So you're going to need an experienced attorney in your state. Those attorneys do exist as well. They're certified through a larger organization called the American Association of Adoption and Assisted Reproduction Attorneys, or Quad A. It's really been quite frustrating to me over the past 10 to 15 years to realize how many obstacles there are in place for our families to come to life. Really, while gay marriage was recognized in 2015, accessing the same insurance benefits that our heterosexual allies have is actually usually not easy. The tide is slowly turning, but the vast majority of members of our community don't have access to the same benefits that heterosexual couples have. And therefore, they have a much higher expense ratio to build their family. For moms to be, you're often looking at everything beyond your initial valuation being an out-of-pocket expense. And many moms to be spend anywhere from $10 to $30, sometimes even $50,000 to build their family, simply because they don't have an opposite sex partner. For dads to be, you can multiply that by 3. And I'm not saying that as a joke. It's typically about $150,000 to $200,000 for dads to have a child, because you just need more resources. You need a wonderful woman who's going to donate your eggs. You absolutely need to do in vitro fertilization. Then you need a woman who's going to carry the pregnancy. And surrogates typically get compensated for their 9 to 12 months of work, somewhere around $40,000 to $60,000. There's legal work involved, and then there's the search to find the egg donor or the search to find your surrogate. And that all has to be paid for. The agencies involved in this need to be compensated. So I think the biggest hurdle for our families to come to life often comes down to expenses. I'm really happy and proud that I've been involved in trying to move the needle for our community over the past 5 to 7 years. And there's several companies now, all Fortune 500 companies, that offer benefits for family building for our community. I encourage everybody out there who's trying to build their family to push a little bit. If your company offers fertility benefits for heterosexual couples, you're not asking for anything more or anything different. You're just asking for the same benefit, because it's just fair. That's something certainly I'm passionate about, and I think you all need to be aware that it's perfectly reasonable to advocate for that. It's really exciting to know that you're the next wave of our community looking forward to family building. There's a survey done by Family Equality Council in 2019 that reported that there's about 2.4 million LGBTQ plus millennials that are going to move forward with family building in the near future. Very interestingly, let's say for my generation, there was a significant gap in a member of the LGBTQ community and pursuing family building. But in this study, the gap between heterosexual couples and same-sex couples is only 7%. And that's likely feeling safe, empowered, and recognized. And the technology exists and you see our families out there. And what's fascinating and wonderful, really heartwarming, is that our families are doing very well. So I often get asked, what's my favorite part about being a dad? I'm actually somebody who's not good at favorites. There's so many amazing aspects of being a parent, but there's that very special early time when you're holding your baby. And I can't even really explain what you're gonna feel, but it's something you've never felt before. There's the times that your child first brightens up and talks to you and identifies you as their world, that just basically overwhelms you with this sense of responsibility and love and hope for the future. And now, because I have children that talk back to me, there's the frustration of being a parent, but then there are their joys and successes that, while they're small, you can see that this person that you've been nurturing since they've been completely depending on you is now becoming an important, hopefully positive member of our human family.